I used to believe honesty always wins. That was before my boss framed me for a crime I didn't commit. I worked as a senior accountant for a mid-sized logistics firm. Nothing fancy, just spreadsheets, reports, and long nights balancing books that never quite added up. Still, I loved my job. Numbers made sense. People didn't. One afternoon, while reviewing the quarterly report, I spotted several unusual transfers, thousands of dollars going into a consulting account that didn't exist in our vendor list. I did what any responsible employee would. I brought it to my manager, Victor. He smiled, patted my shoulder and said, "Good catch, Maya, I'll look into it." The next week, everything collapsed. HR called me in. My desk had been searched. They'd found invoices under my drawer, fake ones, showing I'd approved the same transactions I'd reported. Clara, Victor's assistant and my supposed friend, handed them over like she was uncovering a crime. Victor sat there with that same calm smile and said, "I'm sorry, Maya, we trusted you." They escorted me out in front of everyone. The whispers burned worse than the shame. "I knew she was too quiet," someone said. "Always the quiet ones." For a week, I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Victor smirk. But grief turned into focus. I'd been an accountant long enough to know one thing. Paper trails never really disappear. I went through my old backups, external drives, email archives, autosave drafts. That's when I found them. The original spreadsheets, my versions. The ones before Victor had reviewed them. The timestamps told the whole story. The changes came from his office computer, not mine. I wasn't the thief. He was, and I wasn't the only one who would know it. I reached out to a detective I'd met once, Ross. He'd given a talk on fraud prevention at a community seminar I attended years ago. I sent him the files, the metadata, and the evidence chain. He called back the next day. "Maya," he said, "this is airtight. Let's do it right." So I stayed quiet. I rebuilt my life, working freelance, keeping low. But every few weeks Ross updated me. Piece by piece, they gathered proof, shell companies forged invoices, Clara's falsified signatures. Then, 1 year later, it all came crashing down. During the company's annual audit, an anonymous envelope arrived at the boardroom. Inside, everything. The stolen funds, Victor's hidden accounts, his own digital signature on falsified documents. Ross and his team walked in before lunch. By the time employees returned from their break, Victor and Clara were in handcuffs. I didn't go inside. I just watched from across the street, coffee in hand, as the man who ruined my life was led away in silence. A week later, the CEO came to see me. "Maya," he said, "we owe you an apology. We'd like you to come back." I smiled politely and said, "I don't work for people who believe liars over evidence. Today, I own my own accounting firm." The sign outside reads, "Patel Financial Integrity, where numbers tell the truth." Sometimes I still think about Victor. About how he thought he buried me under his lies. But numbers don't lie. They just wait, patient and silent, until the truth adds up. He tried to break me. But in the end, the only thing that broke was his mask.